Hi, hello, namaste. Welcome to NTV Business. This is me, Harika. హెల్త్ ఈజ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ అంటారు. ఇంకా కోవిడ్ టైంలో అయితే ఆ విషయం మనకు ఇంకా క్లారిటీ వచ్చింది. మరి అలాంటి హెల్త్కి సంబంధించి హెల్త్ కేర్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ తోటి హెల్త్ కేర్ ఫర్ ఆల్ అనే విజన్ తోటి వీ హ్యావ్ ఎ స్టార్ట్అప్ టుడే విత్ అస్. దాట్ ఈస్ క్రోజన్ ఆరోగ్యం బయోటెక్ ప్రైవేట్ లిమిటెడ్. మరి ఈ స్టార్ట్అప్ గురించి, హెల్త్ కేర్ గురించి, హెల్త్ కేర్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ గురించి బోల్డ్ అనే విషయాలు షేర్ చేసుకోవడానికి టుడే వీ హ్యావ్ డాక్టర్ పొంగదాయి రామస్వామి గారు. ఇంకెందుకు లేట్ ఆమెతో మాట్లాడేద్దాం. హాయ్ అండి, హౌ ఆర్ యూ డూయింగ్?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
సో హెల్త్ ఈజ్ వెల్త్ అంటారు. టు బి ఆనెస్ట్, హెల్త్ ఈజ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ అనాలి. అలాంటి హెల్త్ కేర్ సెక్టార్లో యు ఆర్ బీన్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్లేయర్ హూ ఇస్ ఫోకసింగ్ ఆన్ హెల్త్ కేర్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్. సో మీ జర్నీ ఎలా స్టార్ట్ అయింది? ఎవరు మీరు? ఎలా స్టెప్ ఇన్ అయ్యారు దీంట్లో?
So we incorporated this company, Chrogene Aarogyam biotech Pvt Ltd, in the year 2017. So we started with something else, like we had something health as a main focus, but we wanted to focus more into training the people in this line and wanted to bring the students into, some sort of a training programs and all that, but eventually it took a different shape altogether. So in 2018 we started exploring the areas wherein we can pitch in for some healthcare issues, which are pressing healthcare issues in the present day scenario. So we started working on various aspects like geriatrics. We started looking into various aspects of healthcare issues which are faced by the Indian people, like Indian,
which is challenges of the Indian citizens.
So we were looking into into geriatrics, lifestyle disease, like more of sedentary lifestyles, and also some of the societal healthcare issues. So we started exploring these areas, but and we started writing for funds, like we wanted to raise funds in these areas, so that we can start doing an R&D and then later plan to commercialize the product. So since I have my earlier experience in working in a healthcare domain in various institutions and corporates, so I was more focused into all these areas.
Okay. So you ante mee background anta?
So basically I'm a geneticist. I'm a PhD in genetics from Osmania University, Department of Genetics, under Dr. Vishnu Priya. I completed my PhD in hematological malignancies. So after that I worked in various corporates and various academic institutions and fundings from CSIR, ICMR and DBT. So after that I shifted to corporates, where I was working as a R&D group leader for various infectious and non-infectious diseases like HPV and tuberculosis. So I worked in CDFD as a project associate in MTB, mycobacterial tuberculosis, and then in corporate I was leading the team for human papilloma virus, especially, which is more common amongst the women, especially Indian women, the cervical cancer, which is the cause of HPV, which is results in, if left untreated, it leads to cervical HPV. So we're working on that. So that is all my 9 to 5 job, you can say. So later when I started my own startup, as I said, that we incorporated this company, Chrogene Aarogyam, in the year 2017, and then subsequently my focus was different, but then I eventually it led to something like working on in a healthcare space, and then we explored various areas, as I already mentioned, and then we got the funding. We wrote various funds for to the funding agents. We wrote project proposals were written, but then we got a first proposal sanctioned for from BIRAC BAG.
Okay, on a project ki sambandhinchi?
Sickle cell anemia.
Sickle cell anemia.
We got a grant from BIRAC BAG, that is Biotechnology Ignition Grant. So we were incubated with IKP Knowledge Park, and then we started this project. That is basically like when you talk about sickle cell anemia, it's quite a big story actually. It has got, the thing is, one is the prevalence of it. When you see it from a global point of view, and also as our Indian subcontinent. So the global point of view, when you see that, it's quite highly prevalent in African population, in Indian population, in Middle East, and also southern Brazil. So all these areas you find the sickle cell anemia quite prevalent, and most basically it is like it's found in a heterozygote states, like they are carriers. So in the carrier status it doesn't matter, but when it's in a sickle cell homozygous state, it's an autosomal recessive disorder. It's a genetic disorder caused due to a point mutation.
Okay.
In the blood cells. So when it is in the homozygous recessive condition, it results into the normal red blood cell turns out to be in a sickle cell form, and which has got a very much various characteristic features, which totally is different from that of a normal red blood cells, RBCs. So because of their morphological change, the genetic, because of genetic mutation, there is a morphological, physical, and also physiological changes are happening, and which results in a lot of mortality and morbidity amongst the children, especially if left untreated for a long time. So and
సో ఈ సికిల్ సెల్ అనేమికి సంబంధించి మీరు ఏం ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ చేశారు అంటే లైక్ వాట్ ఇస్ దట్?
So we are now working on screening device.
Okay.
Non-invasive screening device. Non-invasive screening device అంటే ఇప్పుడు బ్లడ్ తీయకుండా ఎలా మేము స్క్రీన్ చేయాలి at point of care. See, we don't have to go to the lab. See, there are two things here. One is going to the lab and getting ourselves tested. But when you see the population, the tribal populations, first I was talking about the incidence prevalence of the sickle cell disease. Now coming to the next point, how many there is a correlation between sickle cell disease and tribal population. Okay. So when you see the tribal population in India, it covers almost like 10% of the total population of India, and there is around 705 tribes, different tribes in Indian population. So when you see the health issues of it, we need to address, because they are all the they are all our our ethnic groups. We need to
even
preserve
they are included in the ethnic
these are is an ethnic group, and we need to preserve it. So it is something like it is nothing like it's not
we don't want them to get extinct.
We don't want to, that is one thing. What you rightly said is we don't want them to extinct because of some health issues. We need to cater to their health needs. So when I say there is an association between tribal population and sickle cell anemia, because of a lot of consanguinity amongst them, and being a genetic disorder, when there is a lot of consanguinity, is inbreeding ante marrying within the relatives.
Okay, అంటే సొంత ఇంట్లో వాళ్ళనే పెళ్లి చేసుకోవాలి.
వాళ్ళ లోపల, see, the gene pool is like very much intact here, and they don't mix, they don't go, and so that sort of a thing. So here, being an autosomal recessive mode of inheritance, it follows because of point mutation and a recessive mode of autosomal recessive mode of inheritance. You find
అంటే ట్రైబల్స్ కి మోస్ట్లీ సికిల్ సెల్ అమీనియా రావడానికి రీజన్ అదేనా, అంటే వాళ్ళ ఫ్యామిలీ వాళ్ళనే మ్యారీ చేసుకొని జెనెటికల్ గా పాపులేషన్?
there is when you study one more thing is there is a heterozygotic advantage. Malarial parasites ekkada untadi. See, tribal population ante you can understand, like it will be somewhere in the tropical areas,
in
like
the forest
and all that. So one thing is the malarial parasites are there. So this gene is mostly operating as a heterozygote condition. That is, they don't have it in the homozygote recessive condition. For every character, it is controlled by two genes, two alleles. Each character is controlled by two alleles. One is dominant and other is recessive. So sometimes it will be both dominant will be present, both recessive will be present. So here it's autosomal recessive. But when it is a heterozygote case, ante okatemo normal untadi, okatemo recessive untadi. Dominant and recessive. Ante one is dominant over the other. And so when the sickle cell is one, in the case of heterozygote advantage, the recessive gene is not present in this thing, it is only present in one single allele is present, whereas the other allele is dominant. So that way it is not expressed. Phenotypically means we can't see it visually, but it is there in the genotype. So that is an advantage for when there is a malarial parasites. Malarial parasites are more predominantly seen in the tropical regions because of various their survival is more this thing. But when heterozygote advantage, ikkada sickle cell heterozygotes, if they are in the carrier status, when I say one dominant and one recessive allele present in an individual, it is in the heterozygote state. So heterozygote states will be not be giving them the malarial parasites cannot thrive in such an individual, because it doesn't give them a sufficient atmosphere
Okay.
to survive in the
Nutrition
this in their body. So the mosquitoes are not able to thrive in, I mean, parasites are not able to thrive inside this type of individuals. That is one advantage. But then these heterozygotes, when they marry within themselves, two
వాళ్ళ రిలేటివ్స్ ని పెళ్లి
పెళ్లి
చేసుకోవడం
చేసుకున్నప్పుడు హోమోజైగోట్స్ అయిపోతారు. సో రెసెసివ్ two recessive genes are highly, I express that is 1 in 4 chance of this recessive alleles getting chances of it getting expressed.
Okay.
So 1 in 4 and ante okasari 1 in 4, next time also that will be 1 in 4.
1 in 4.
So the pregnancies will be like, though they say that 1 out of 4 chances of this variation, like the type of combinations you have, there will be 1 in 4 chance of getting a sickle cell child.
అంటే ప్రెగ్నెన్సీలో ఉన్న ఒక 1 in 4 మెంబర్స్ కి సికిల్ సెల్
1 in 4 కదా, 1 in 4 types, 1 in 4 అన్నమాట. అంటే there are four types of genotypes you can get, combinations. దాంట్లో 1 in 4.
One combination has
the recessive gene. But that doesn't mean that the second time they have the issue, when they want to plan for a child, it will again be 1 in 4. So again it will be repeated. So it's like throwing a coin and saying head or tail. If you get head once, doesn't mean that next time you are going to get a tail.
The head, tail, exactly.
Tail. So we can't predict, but we can say that it's 1 in 4 chance of getting. So that is this thing, like, like if they don't get counseled, and if they are not discouraged from getting into consanguineous marriages and all that, they are going to give birth to a sickle cell child. And the sickle cell child, see the blood disorder here, you find that it is all sickle shaped. The normal flow of the blood is being distorted, and then blood is the one which has the heme to carry able to carry the oxygen molecules. So when there is no oxygen binding capacity because of the sickle shape, they just track one over the other, and if they don't try to form a union, and the lifespan is also decreased.
Child lifespan
Not the child, I'm saying the blood's lifespan. On 20 days నుంచి it becomes 30 days. Okay, so that, and one more thing, if the oxygen is not reaching all the vital organs, so they are bound to die. So one is, it's a genetic disorder, we can only maintain it, manage the disease, and we cannot treat the disease. I mean, we can treat the disease, but we cannot cure the disease. And it should be caught early. The manifestation should be early. See, manifestation, it varies from individual to individual. Okay, so they have a lot of complications, like breathlessness, all the vital organs are they tend to not function properly. They have other normal activities are compromised. They can't be like active like that of any other normal child laga. So there are a lot many things which health issues are associated with sickle cell disease.
And even Indian government kuda budget session lo it has mentioned that sickle cell anemia ni eradicate cheyali by 2047 ani.
So they have done, a policy has been in place for eradicating sickle cell disease like any other malarial parasites. Something like a TB, tuberculosis also they are planning, and they have polio. All this which has been eradicated. So they plan to do this by 2047.
So మీరు సికిల్ సెల్ అనేమియా దాని మీదనే కాన్సెప్ట్ అంటే ఫోకస్ చేసి ఒక ప్రోడక్ట్ తీసుకురావాలి, అది కూడా బ్లడ్ లేకుండా స్క్రీనింగ్ చేసి ఒక డివైస్ తీసుకురావాలి అనే ఐడియా ఎలా వచ్చింది మీకు? అంటే వాట్ ఇన్స్పైర్డ్ యూ, ఎనీ స్టోరీ బిహైండ్?
So we have a lot of, it's not that we have pioneered or we have done something something which not others have not been doing it, but only thing is it's a little hatke. In the sense like screening at a point of care. If you go to the lab, it's definitely everything likes to be blood based. But all the lab based tests cannot go for screening at a point of care because of various logistics involved. So we have to carry your reagents, you have to carry all your test all whatever is all the reagents, your equipments and transport. So many things are there, logistics issues are there, and people are screening at point of care using an invasive. It's not that they are not doing it, they are doing it, but to make the things simpler, because mostly the people living in these areas are not very in the sense like they don't like to get themselves exposed for all these things, so it's very difficult to convince them and collect a sample. So that is a main hurdle here. So when you do a screening based on a non-invasive technology, and it's more portable, environmental friendly, and you're not going to draw a sample, that becomes easier for us to access them.
Okay.
Just to screen them. Screen in the sense, like initially we'll say like the population itself is so high and we want to catch the disease early so that we start managing and treating them at an early stage. Early stage. So what we can just go with a non-invasive type, like how you work on a pulse oximeter, like at the COVID time how you. So the principle is similar to that, more or less it is similar to that.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇది ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది, ఎలా ఆపరేట్ చేయాలి అంటే?
ఆపరేట్ అంటే it's something like a small device which I have not got my this thing, like you can just imagine like how we right now we have it in a sort of a small mini ECG machine like sort of, but we tend to bring it to a smaller miniature version of it, and what exactly is like how the pulse readings like we try to use a sensor-based optical this technology here, where we don't have to draw the sample. You have a probe in the sense like we need to like how you have a pulse oximeter, like how you take your reading and take the pulse reading of it. So similar to that we take here.
So just pulse oximeter laga you'll just
we just have to insert the finger. It's like they will not even I realize that they have taken given their they have given their data. I mean, we have screened their this thing status. So it's like it can be placed in a school or in any ration shop nearby. And all that. So it's like sensor-based technology. So we just take the pulse readings and we try to see how the amplitude, it's like changes in how the amplitude is varying in the case of sickle and the non-sickle individuals. And if they're positive for a sickle, like it's a qualitative test. So if they're positive for the test, then they can be asked to go to the to get further tested at point of at the lab.
So to know the status
then they can do further confirmatory test. Further confirmatory test, then the clinician can have a look, and I mean he can start treating them with the required therapy, I mean medications, either the blood transfusions, whatever is required. So that can be further this thing. So initial they did not have to go because see, unless it is manifested, people don't want to go to a doctor. So when we screen at an early stage and then we say that this is what is status, then they can so otherwise when you make it mandatory, nobody wants to go to themselves tested in a lab. So there are screening happening at point of care by using other technologies, other invasive methods, but we are bringing up we are trying to do it by non-invasive. We tend to do it by non-invasive method.
So the device ante like you got the funding device di ante you ante etla me ela reach ante audience ki etla reach cheddam anukuntunnaru? So what are your plans?
Actually right now we are as we are building the device, we are closely working with the patients from Thalassemia and Sickle Society in Hyderabad, and Dr. Suman Jain is one CEO of the hospital there, and we get patients from nearby states like Telangana. This hospital is located in Sri Shivarampalli, and people come from nearby areas like Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, and some of them also come from Tamil Nadu. All these nearby areas come, all these places, they come from all this Andhra, Orissa, and all, I mean from Telangana, and they come regularly for both thalassemia and sickle cell. So we are more concerned with, as of now we are more in focusing on sickle cell. So we take the sickle cell patients data. Already they have been tested by other technologies. So we try to take their readings, and we see like whether we are what we want to build. That is happening. The analysis is happening. Actually, we want to make it as something automated and more of digital. So what we want to share the data. We want to put the data in the cloud so that it becomes accessible to the clinicians and all that. So we try to build the device. We have had a lot of iterations, like we have changed 2 or 3 prototypes, and then now we have come to a more compact one. So we try to bring in as many as possible, like the changes what we want to tend to bring in here. And
so when you're planning for launch of the
launch, we have been postponing it for quite some time, but we really want to work towards launching it at least by 2024. If the funding is all fine and we are able to bring out the best of the device. And yeah.
So as a startup being in healthcare industry, there were many challenges. Alantidi you have collaborated with Pvt Hyderabad. So how far is it going?
So Triple IT we have collaborated very recently, but then I have been closely associated in the sense I have been coming regularly for all the Triple IT activities and all. I have been participating, like I attend all the various seminars and all that. Initially I have been with IKP Knowledge Park, and with that there's a lot of networking and all that. So everybody is connected to everyone here. So it's not that I am at Triple IT or at T Hub or V Hub or IKP. It's all totally
Together.
they're all always together. So it doesn't matter whether I'm here or there, but because the people are the same. Like whenever there are something which is happening, they all come together. So it's something like, so Triple IT is like, I'm feeling better. I mean, I'm good. I'm working together, and they're very, they know about our work, and yes, I look forward for a lot of support from Triple IT, and yeah.
So lastly, as a startup of being in a healthcare industry, working on a product which is focusing on sickle cell anemia, so what are your future goals?
Future goals as such is we want to first establish one particular platform, and this has a gold standard for screening at point of care. First is screening should be for all the sickle cells using this technology. That is this thing, and then we want to build other parameters related to blood disorders, so that we don't have to have different it's like it's a portfolio, like we don't want to have separate this thing for one device for this, one device for that. So it's like once we do this, so we want to focus on all those disorders which are very common in the rural or urban areas and all that, so that we can keep all in one place.
Okay, device so you
can
screen
do all
many lot of diseases.
Whatever is mostly the blood disorders
related,
which are very common, can by non-invasive methods, because invasive method so that is our focus. That is our long-term focus and focus and goal also. But right now we are more concerned about only establishing the product which is right now in our hand.
Okay. Yeah. We are all the very best for your future goals, and we really wish that your product should be launched and treated for many tribal areas and reach globally.
Thank you.
So, and we'll be waiting for the launch as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us today with us show. So, చూసారు కదా సికిల్ సెల్ అనీమియాకి సంబంధించి ఒక ఇన్నోవేటివ్ డివైస్ స్టార్ట్ చేశారు, అండ్ ఆ ప్రోడక్ట్ లాంచ్ కూడా 2024లో ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నారంట. ఇట్ షుడ్ రీచ్ ట్రైబల్ ఏరియాస్ అండ్ హెల్ప్ మెనీ. So that was NTV Business. Thank you.